This is my boomstick.
Yes. So we just saw
right.
the Warcraft, the movie that Jeremy Jahns was hoping would be the big video game movie that'll change everything, and didn't for him, I guess. So guys, what'd you guys think of Warcraft?
Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped.
You thought it was going to be bad?
Video game movie, man.
Well, yeah. Excuse me.
What do you think?
I've seen better video game adaptations than this.
Really? Like what?
Prince of Persia, Need for Speed, those are guilty pleasures on my part.
I like Prince of Persia, but I don't agree with Need for Speed. I thought Need for Speed was like really boring. As like half that, I didn't like Need for Speed whatsoever.
Alright, this though, I could not care less what was happening in this movie. It is probably, maybe Gods of Egypt wasn't so bad after all.
I don't
Really?
I don't
Well,
agree with that.
it's kind of they're kind of bad in different ways. Gods of Egypt is just a big dopey mess. This was dull as a rock. I mean, it's so slow paced and it's really artificial looking.
I don't know. I didn't feel that way. I felt there was actually a lot of really good, because I actually felt there were some parts that did actually look real. There were actually, because they actually did make some. There actually were some real sets in this, unlike Gods of Egypt, which is all just CG backgrounds and stuff. This actually did have some real sets. There actually were some real stuff. The armor, like everything, just looked more realistic then. Except for, and the motion capture was pretty good for the most part. I mean, there was some bad stuff, especially there was one scene with Ben Foster. I agreed with Stuckman on about Ben Foster looked kind of bad, but for the most part, I felt it was fine. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the games, because this movie's basically like the beginning. This is basically the introduction. I think I'm not sure. This either takes place before the first game or is the story of the first game. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that I would guess a prequel,
Yeah,
like the starting point.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah, because that's why like there's been those advertisements, because Regal's doing a cross promotion. If you buy a ticket at the box office, you get the game for free. That's why like their whole thing is, see the movie, the adventure's not over. You can play the game, which continues on the story or something or whatever. Because yeah, this is based on like, well, there was like three real-time like strategy games, and then World of Warcraft, which was the open MMO game. Basically, but I don't know. I didn't feel it was too bad, this movie, anyways. I thought it was fine.
I've never played the video game, but
Me neither.
I don't know. This movie
I played the first and the third, and the strategy games.
All right. This movie though, it looked more cartoony than Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Actually, and that was a cartoon.
You know, I don't know. I actually thought this was more interesting than Turtles. Actually, I thought Turtles was really a lot of stuff in Turtles. A lot of nothing happened in Turtles. So a lot of the middle point was just talking. This had a lot of talking, but then there'd at least be an action scene somewhere in the middle. Turtles didn't really.
Well, Ninja Turtles had a lot of action scenes.
Not really. There was a big set piece at the beginning. Then the middle, a lot of the middle was just a lot of nothing. A lot of nothing happened in the middle. Just a lot of talking, and a lot of just we should do something. And then there was like one action scene in the middle, and it was like there for a second, and then it was over. Turtle Out of the Shadows just had a lot of until like then there was like a couple action scenes at the end, and then the ending then they finally went somewhere near the end. But I don't know. I felt I was more invested in this. I thought the characters were more interesting anyway. Not all of them. I like the orc characters, the most of the orc characters anyways. I like the main orc guy.
I will have to say, you always, like, for orcs, like, these were pretty decent characters. Like, you always expect like, especially from like Lord of the Rings universe, you always expect orcs to be like these backstabbing, like, yeah, but
I mean, some of them were still bad, like Clancy Brown and the evil wizard villain guy. They were evil, but for the most part, they were kind of. I liked how they handled the orcs, and I think Mainly, I think the reason why this is a lot better than most like movies that are mostly take place in CG backdrops is it has a good director. Duncan Jones is a very good. I like his work. I liked Moon and Source Code. I think they're
I like
really
Source Code, yeah.
good. You didn't see Moon yet, I don't think, right?
No, not.
Yeah.
But I did see Source Code.
Source Code.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I accidentally drew on myself.
But yeah, I don't know. I felt I think his direction was a little better than like Portnoy, the director of Gods of Egypt. He's kind of just like, just CG everything. I don't care.
Well, there was tons of CGI in this too.
Yeah, there was, but there wasn't.
Most of the orcs
and stuff
were CG.
And some.
And a lot of the wide shots of the landscape too. It really looked pretty phony. There was that brief moment where it goes up into the clouds and there are like those floating hills. I was like, isn't that adorable? This movie thinks it's Avatar.
I don't know. I don't know. I never felt any of it felt that as bad as like something like Gods of Egypt. I felt it worked for the most part. Like it was mostly, I don't know. I like this for the most part. I mean, that's like I love this film. It's not as good as like there's other films I'd rather watch instead of it, but I still really liked it. And I love the music to this one too. The music in this one is excellent.
This movie did make more sense than Gods of Egypt, but I really didn't find that it had like even a hint of an interesting mythos, and that's just why I really couldn't get into it at all.
This is kind of the mythos, like how it implies this is how the whole thing started.
Well, yeah,
it just started how the orcs got there or whatever. But yeah, this is definite. But yeah,
but I will bring up one problem. The games have the Horde and the Alliance. Well, in this, it's just like a tiny fraction of the Horde.
Well, they're starting out. Like
that's true.
So it's just like, if I did have a problem is that this movie does feel kind of like it is just a setup for the games a bit, not too bad. Then again, like I said, I've never actually played the game, so I can't tell you too much about that. But there's like, it does feel like it's just a setup for something, not like more movies, but just for like the games or whatever. That's my only real gripe. Other than that, I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was too bad. I actually like this a lot better than like Gods of Egypt I actually liked it better than Turtles too, which I didn't want to. Like I said, I'm not trying to like any of these movies better. Like I wanted to like Gods of Egypt, and I wanted to like, even though there were things I liked about Turtles, I just had a lot of problems with it too. We didn't review that one.
I like how
we kind of ran out of time the other night because I really wanted to do the 3D one, but yeah, long opinion short, we thought it was okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was okay. I liked how the orcs they don't understand the humans at all, and that's one of the details I actually like.
Yeah.
Like in most of the time, they just magically understand each other.
Yes.
And that's what I thought was going to happen in this, but they.
Although, shouldn't they be able to? Because orcs are half man, half elf, right?
No.
That's what I heard, at least in like the Lord of the Rings mythos.
That's totally different.
Okay. All right.
What are you talking about again? Sorry.
I would have assumed that.
What did you say about the elves? What did you thought the elves were?
He believed that the orcs are half
man, half elf.
No, I don't think so. I think they're just like they're from a different dimension. So I guess from what I'm gathering from the movie, so I think they're kind of their own thing. You gotta remember, not all fantasy stuff is the same. They change a lot of things. Like in most fantasy stuff, what you're used to, like from Lord of the Rings, the elves are like the highest of like like even like in games like the Elder Scrolls series and stuff, like where the elves are usually the highest of races or something, like they're the ones that are like considered like these, except for like the only fantasy series I think I know of where the elves are actually kind of losers is like Dragon Age. The Dragon Age series, they're kind of losers in that.
Well, yeah, I'd kind of expect that sort of thing to be to vary in different fantasy worlds, but I would have expected like the creatures to be the same, like a centaur. I would expect to be a half man, half horse, and then it's another fantasy series. It's half man, half beetle.
Well, they also had this. They had the griffin. The griffin thing, but I think I guess another problem too is I wish there were some more races besides just human and orc. I mean, there are scenes you see some trolls, not trolls, sorry. What are they called?
Dwarves.
Dwarves. You see some dwarves. There's a scene with some dwarves, and there's a scene with some elves, but like that's it. Like they don't help or anything. I would have liked to seen some more, maybe them do some stuff or something like that. But other than that, it was. I guess they wanted to keep the focus on the story, and that's fine. But I think, like I said, I think my favorite thing about this movie is probably the music. I really liked. I forgot the guy who does the score, but his music really stood out for me with this movie. Like it's probably the thing that stood out the most. Like it was very engaging when like a lot of movies nowadays just kind of have a boring score. Like a lot of superhero movies especially just have like this kind of dull score that I'll forget. Like this music I think I really like.
We'll say a problem is that throughout this entire film the main characters are trying to create peace between the two races, but but you already know it just fails because Warcraft.
Yeah, I guess I can. Maybe we should talk about the characters. You guys didn't like the characters, or did you like them? Like, was there any characters you liked?
Not really.
No. You didn't even like.
Couldn't even get invested.
You didn't even like the main orc at all. The one guy who was trying to change everything. I liked him, played by Toby Kimmel or whatever his name is. I liked him.
Toby Kebbell.
Kebbell, yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom.
He played two characters. He played him, and then he played that old old sorcerer guy.
Really?
Yeah, Toby Kebbell played both. Yeah, I liked the main orc guy. He was the guy I was mostly invested in. I kind of wanted to see him succeed, but
okay.
Again, but we know it know it fails.
Yeah. Well,
which kind of takes all
I wasn't sure because when going into this movie, I actually wasn't sure what the movie was gonna be, like what it was supposed to be like. I didn't know it was going to be a beginning or anything. That's why when I first saw this, a lot of stuff happened. Like when a lot of characters died, I was like, I didn't know he was going to die because I wasn't sure what the movie was going for. I thought it was just a Warcraft movie. But now that I've kind of seen, because the thing that kind of led me on, that it's a beginning that first led me on, it was that one of the posters said the beginning. I'm like, oh, okay, now I kind of get what they're going for this movie, and I kind of got it from there. I mean, you probably already knew because you've played the other games, so
not much.
Not all of, I know, not much, but you've at least played the games, and I've never done anything. I've never played World of Warcraft. I've never played Warcraft 1, 2, or 3, or I mean, I've seen a little bit of one of the adventure games that came out, that LucasArts made, one of the adventure games, which also had Clancy Brown as the main guy. It's kind of cute, funny, but that's about it. I don't really know much about this.
Lex Luthor!
Clancy Brown, he voiced Lex Luthor and Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob. He was the Black Hand, I think his name was, the guy with the hand. But what'd you guys think of, I kind of liked the main human. I thought he was okay. The guy from Vikings, Travis, what's his name? He's also going to be in Maggie's Plan later this year.
I can't really.
I
can't really say. There wasn't a lot. I mean, I can't really say I got attached to any of the characters.
Like I said, I got attached to the main orc. I did the main character kind of, but I think that's mostly because I actually liked the young wizard, even though a lot of people aren't liking him so right now online. A lot of people aren't particularly favoring him so much. I thought he was fine. Ben Foster didn't like so much. He was okay. He was the Guardian. I kind of liked Paula Patton as the half-breed. She was cool, I guess. I also liked the main guy's wife, too, the woman with the baby. She was kind of cool. And his best friend, too. His best friend was kind of interesting. But, I don't know, a lot of characters for me at least stood out. Not their names. Like, I won't remember a single one of their names, but them as themselves kind of stood out for me anyways. Which a lot of people say that a lot of these characters aren't fleshed out all that much. I thought they were fine for what they did, I guess. I mean, would you want them to explain their whole backstory to you?
That's true. That is true.
I'm just like, you can see who they are, but what they do and what they say. And
I think a lot of this is definitely something you kind of have to play the game to get.
Maybe, and not 100%. Like I said, I haven't played much of the games.
But you really shouldn't have to.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the same as not explaining something that's explained in the book that a movie is adapted from, and people might say, well, you have to read the book, but no, you shouldn't have to. It should be able to stand on its own as a movie.
Yeah, I felt for the most part, for me anyways, it did.
This is more or less a basic backstory.
Yeah.
They're not really trying. because they want you to get you to play the games. That's the point.
Yeah.
People who
There were like
work on the games didn't work on this. Some of them did.
This is like I think the intention is like filling in like plot holes from the games.
Well, some stuff, some stuff. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't played the game, so I don't know.
Did anyone else expect like there to be like, I mean, not like throughout this, I thought they were like referencing the Lich King.
I thought there were, when I first saw that, I thought there was going to be some stuff about him, but no, because...
I mean, not fully, like, oh, it's the Lich King, or...
Yeah.
But,
I know what you're talking about.
Subtle
That's what I felt, too. I thought they were going to go for that, too, but they didn't, because I don't think the Lich King was a thought until World of Warcraft. I don't think they really thought of that until, because they're also focusing on the original games, too.
But even then, he is still a major player in the world of Azeroth.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, but yeah. They won't mention him probably until later, which is fine. This is just setting up everything else. I don't know, but I guess talking about recommendation-wise, I think I would just mostly recommend this to people who enjoy the game.
Yeah, me too.
People who aren't big fans, if you're curious, go ahead. I'm not saying don't, but you might not enjoy this. Like, you might be like Pop here, might think it's stupid. You might not get interested. This actually gets me kind of interested. I kind of want to try out the games eventually.
One thing I want to point out is they explain how the evil magic works, but not how the good one works.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But...
It's like, the green magic comes from life, but where does the blue magic come from?
Well, green was the bad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The fell.
The fell.
Blue was like good or whatever. All I know is blue's good, green's bad, which is weird because usually it's red bad.
It's true.
But
or is this something like?
Let's and usually it's actually green good because green usually stands for like earth and stuff, and red usually stands for fire and like blood and stuff.
Although green also does stand for envy.
And that's true.
You guys want to wrap this up, or do you have anything else to add?
I don't have anything else.
Yeah, not really.
All right, so let's get to grading and final thoughts. Pop?
Yeah, I really didn't take anything at all away from this movie.
I didn't expect you to like it anyway.
It's not so much that it's dumb, it's that it's drab. And in fact, for that, I give it a D for drab.
Like I said at the beginning, I expected this to be... I didn't expect to enjoy this, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I had hoped. Well,
all right.
I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to enjoy this, but not that much. So I'm gonna give this a C or C minus, somewhere in that area.
And speaking of, I don't understand how you can find this drab and like find Need for Speed interesting. I actually think that's the opposite. I just thought, and what's actually really funny. Speaking of that, the main villain from Need for Speed.
Donovan Cooper. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few things to be said about that. Need for Speed had a lot of practical effects, and it was really fast paced too.
I did not agree with that. I thought
the makeup on what was her name? The half breed.
I don't remember her name, but
I thought like she's one of the few, like, no, she's the only orc that is not CG, and the makeup is real, and the prosthetics and makeup are actually pretty decent.
Yeah, and there were some practical effects, like with the weapons and stuff, and there were some other things, and I'm pretty sure they did. And the actors did look like at least they were kind of looking. At least I think it looked like they were looking at something. They weren't just looking at like dots or something. The actors did at least try for what they had. But I don't know. I'm kind of the opposite when you think Need for Speed is more interesting. I don't, because I felt for me when it comes to Need for Speed, I felt Need for Speed was really just like, I mean, the racing scenes were good, but everything else was just kind of boring, and the characters in that were just, I just felt in Need for Speed were just unlikable and uninteresting. I just felt they were just kind of, and there was like a dumb scene where some guy was like naked for some reason.
Yeah.
It just made no sense.
He said that he did it so that he wouldn't get his job back because he was leaving his job.
Yeah, but
and then at least they were kind of acknowledging that it was dumb, because the guy next to him is like, you know there are much better ways for you to do that, right? It's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know, but it's still, I don't know, that movie didn't work for me. It just felt, but that one, like, I don't know what I would give that one, but I'm giving this one actually a B. I actually kind of enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, I'm not saying this is amazing or anything. Like,
No,
you
it's
need to
not.
go,
Yeah.
like, you need to go see it right away. But it's still, if you're a fan of the games, I think you might like it because you'll probably know all
Or
these
if you're
characters.
or if you're even curious
Yeah.
about Warcraft in general,
If you're
I would
curious,
say.
you might end up, because like I said, I was just curious about this and I liked it, and
All right.
he was also just curious, but he didn't like it, so you don't know what's going to happen. So I
I
would
was kind
recommend
of
it.
curious.
I would
how-
recommend it only, like I said, if you're a fan or if you're just curious. But if you're already like, man, that movie doesn't look very good to me, then don't see it. Then just don't bother. You probably won't enjoy it.
Yeah. This movie has been bouncing around from like 15 to 30% on the tomato meter. I think it was
Yeah.
at 27
Well,
last time I checked.
Like, I understand why the critics aren't liking it, because it's not, like I said, the critics, most of the critics probably aren't fans of the game, and so they probably don't know they probably don't get what the characters are, or all this other stuff, and whatever. That's probably why they don't like it, for the most part anyways. But yeah, but like I said, but anyways, and there's no new trailers, so
Yeah, no new trailers, so...
Really?
See Conjuring
We've
2.
already seen the Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, we already did.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
So-
I think you went to the bathroom one time when we saw that, John. Yeah,
I
You were in
think
the-
so, yeah.
When they played the trailer for
All
Assassin's
right,
Creed one time.
so now we go on to the Conjuring 2.
Which I hope you'll like, because I saw it and it's really good.
Yeah.
Then again, I've
Well,
seen every
I'm-
movie we're seeing today, so
Well, as we go in, should we sing something? We're going into kind of a freaky movie.
sing what? Like what?
I don't know, DuckTales?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or should we get something to eat
Hopefully
first, or
I
what?
will
I
be-
suppose we should. All right.
Let's get something to eat first. I'm hungry.
Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers,
Wait, you're still recording, by the
airplanes.
way.
Yeah, I know.
Like, so we're gonna show people us driving to McDonald's to a food place.
I was going to turn this into a sing-along video. But...
Okay.
All right, well,
I'm
let's
not
go.
singing.